Three, 2, 1. All right, guys, welcome back to the Camp 912 podcast. Here we have a special guest joining us, Mason Cheng. We also have here Toby Taib, Misa, and myself, Alejandro. Mason just got back from Surf City. He got back from Wilmington, North Carolina. He was working there, and he was telling us a couple stories about it. Mason, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, so I spent the last 4 months in Wilmington, North Carolina as a field engineering intern for the Cape Fear Memorial Bridge. In that specific role, I guess I was in charge of quality tracking, like the basic field engineering stuff. So quantity tracking, scheduling, buying material, designing material, coordinating with all the subcontractors, sitting in at owners' meetings, and driving the various vehicles and actually jump in on the line work if needed. So through that experience, it's a great time. It's been went through a lot, learned a lot, but overall, it was pretty real. Got a good image of the industry, what it's like to actually be in the construction field rather than a laborer. But it was definitely different, and I would suggest everyone to try it out, not just be a design engineer, because I believe everyone needs construction experience to be an actual good civil engineer. So definitely suggest it to everyone, and it was pretty cool.
I agree. I feel like you can't really understand those concepts until you get your hands dirty.
Exactly.
And I feel like the construction industry really does that for you. Like when you're doing design, for example, when we're doing any of our design courses, take reinforced concrete. When we do that, we're always talking about beams and rebar and all that stuff. But I wish we could see it in practice. I feel like it would really help. And when you're in the construction industry, you really get to see all of that straight up in real life.
Oh, for sure. Speaking of rebar, I was actually tying rebar in the field. And I remember in reinforced concrete class, Dr. Gurley briefly talked about how to size rebar. And I actually used that knowledge to buy the rebar. I tied it myself. And if people don't know out there, if you want to size a number 8 rebar, is 1/2 inch diameter. But I was actually able to hold it. I saw a lot of things they would draw on statics, so the different reactions, the roller reactions, or the hinge joints. I actually saw them in real life, and they're massive for bridges. They're 3 feet by 3 feet, big boys. So it's pretty cool. But in the field, I did a lot of things that we learned in class, different tests and talking to different inspectors. So that's definitely a good perspective. And you always have to earn your stripes in the field. I was a greenhorn. I'd put it out there. I was a greenhorn, didn't know what I was doing half the time.
Wait a minute, a greenhorn?
A greenhorn. That's what they call newbies.
I didn't know that.
Can you explain that term a little bit?
I don't know where it came from.
Just a greenhorn just means a noob.
Yeah, just a noob, straight up noob.
And clean steel toes, fresh off the box steel toes.
Exactly. Yeah, fresh off the box from Walmart. Coming in with smiling face, doesn't have any wrinkles yet, hasn't seen the sun, never swung a hammer. I remember the first day.
Fresh Levi's.
Yeah, fresh Levi's. Still wearing a Ralph Lauren polo. But no, at the end, I'm pretty sure I cut my lifespan by at least 5 years, and destroyed a few jeans, got dirty, cut myself a few times. Not trying to kill myself, but
yeah,
accidentally.
Good disclaimer.
Yeah, and then pretty sure I went through 6 polos because they just got dirty. But damn. Ending up I was a greenhorn. My third day, my superintendent saw me. And for you guys who don't know, superintendent is basically the field operation manager. He's the guy that's on the field every day, managing the costs, managing the budgets, overseeing the whole project. He just saw me hammering. He's like, "Have you ever hammered before?" And I'm like, I'm just trying to be I definitely hammered back in my life. I grew from the mountains, but no. I mean, like, I did hammer like a few times in my life, but it wasn't like on a large scale where it's like 3-inch nails on a 2-inch spacing, so it's like thousands. Because we were doing some repairs on a rooftop after the hurricane. So he was like, "Have you ever hammered, Mason?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, I know you're lying." And and I was like, "Yeah, you got me, man." Yeah, so he was a cool guy. He was like, "All right, this is how you hammer." And he was like, "Mason, like, I won't be as nice as your next superintendent, so you should be happy I'm teaching you." And he was a great guy. Like, he was always looking out for me. He was a Florida native, went to FSU, unfortunately, but
man.
but it's okay. Yeah, like, yeah. After that first day meeting him, he bought me my own personal hammer, my own measuring tape, my own knife. Great guy. And used to stare if you're out there. Like, shout out to you. Hope your kid's doing all right. But
man, that's awesome. So we were talking to you earlier about how your internship worked. So Alejandro and I had an intern before in construction, and our experience was really different. Alejandro was working in interior design in construction. I was working in the solar industry. So it was a lot more of like an office work environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You told us that you were working overnight.
Yeah.
I've never heard that in any intern before.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there. Like, it's very unreal to see that an intern was working overnight. How was that compared to you, like, going to class during the morning, just having, like, a normal, like, 8 to, like, 5 lifestyle, right? And then, like, switching that to overnight. How did that play a role in, like, your professional development?
Yeah, it was definitely a shock in the beginning. I think my first week I was just chugging back Red Bulls like every 2 hours. It was pretty bad. Definitely sponsor me Red Bull, but like especially the blueberry flavor on point. But yeah, it was definitely crazy. Since I was in heavy civil construction, so that's like roads, bridges, tunnels, highways, ports, airports. A lot of it's at night due to the limited time frame and the existing infrastructure is being used during the day. So we only have 8 hours a night just to work. And PCL, they've been in the industry for over 100 years. They're definitely they know what they're doing, and in their company, they want you to start off in the field and eventually work your way up into the office because they believe, once you get your hands dirty, you can be a better project manager. And I completely agree with it. So they really want their interns, they don't want to sugarcoat their experience. They want them in the field, getting dirty, getting the grit, experiencing all the hardships. And I experienced that. My first shift wasn't too bad. I think it was from 6 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. Wasn't too bad. Since it was my first day, like I was just happy to be there, just meeting all the guys. I didn't really see any negatives of night shifts other than not really having a life outside of work. But we can talk about that later. But other than that, like that wasn't my first time doing a night shift. During my first internship, I worked for the railroad, and there was a situation where I think 8 or 9 cars derailed outside of Atlanta, and we had to work 15 hours straight through the night.
Oh
So
my God.
because of that, it already gave me an idea of what to expect in the night shift. But toward the end of my internship, since I worked in North Carolina on a bridge during the winter, it did get pretty cold. Coming from Miami, Florida, where it doesn't get colder than 60 degrees, I would go back to my car completely iced over. I can't even feel my fingers. It'll be 20 degrees field temperature with 12 to 15 miles per hour crosswinds. So it did get pretty rough out there at times. But with all my coworkers, we were a family. We were looking out for each other. If one of us got cold, we'll set up a heater. We'll switch out. We'll do something because we know how hard it is out there, and because of that, I feel like it brought us together even more, made us even more of a team. That's pretty nice.
I have a question though. For your first shift, did you prepare beforehand? Did you prepare for that shift? Did you stay up all night and then sleep during the days prior, so that you could get that sleeping schedule worked out, or did you have to pull an all-nighter through 4:30 a.m.?
How do you acclimate yourself? I wouldn't be able to do that, man.
So I didn't really had the time to acclimate. So during my first 2 days, it was right after Hurricane Florence. So I was put on day shift for 2 days just to do just good to go back to the site, because I was stationed in the Raleigh office, which is the district office. And for the first 2 like actual days of my internship, I was on day shift going back to Wilmington, accessing the site, make sure we're like, all the material's still there, it's not flooded. So after those 2 days, that's when they immediately put me in night shift. It didn't give me time to acclimate at all. It was like, all right, you're in it, Mason. Like, you're getting paid for a reason. You're in the industry. Like, we're not gonna give you some like fake facade. So they didn't really give me a time to acclimate, which was a little bit rough. Like I said, like pounding back Red Bulls, but I think it took my body like a week or so to actually get used to the whole nightlife, vampire life. But yeah, it's all right, I guess. It's all right.
Okay, I got a question. So, what piece of advice would you give for someone that was going into your shoes now, like another intern?
An advice I'd give them is just be ready to ask questions, never say no, and if you need some help, I definitely ask. A few of my coworkers had to be let go due to they believe they knew the answers, and because of that, it decreased their performance, and they created some errors, so they had to get let go. So I would just say, as an intern, we don't know much. We think we know a lot because we're coming from a civil engineering background and we're coming from university, but those guys especially the ones that don't have degrees but they've been in the industry for like 15 years, they know, like, they've been in every situation possible. So if you're not sure about what to do, or you don't know what you're reading in the plans, definitely ask them. Like, they're more than they'll love to help out the engineers, especially like young guys, because they're like, oh yeah, like I'm smarter than the engineer sort of thing. So that's my advice for a new intern, I guess. And just be prepared, like I said, to take on any situation. I was put into a leadership role where I was in charge of around 4 or 5 guys, and I would tell them like what to do exactly, and I thought I didn't saw drip beads onto parking structures underneath the bridge. It was pretty simple, like just weld some things, cut some pieces. I got the material procured. I told them what to do exactly, and I was like, okay, it should be a walk in a park. Yeah, it was not a walk in a park. And construction's like that, like
very rough park.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like, you think you know it all, but then it just hits you in the face, and you just have to be ready to think on the spot. And that's a big thing about construction. You're put in the high pressure situations, but it helps build character when you can think on the spot correctly, and don't show fear, because once you show fear, that's when you guys start losing morale. They start second guessing you, and that's not what you want in the field. You want to be like a strong leader. And yeah, that's I guess that's my advice for future interns.
It's a really good advice, man. I was thinking the other day, how do you think, how proactive do you think you have to be as an intern or as like a first year employee? Because I feel like a lot of times they do have questions, or they do have ideas or whatever, but like me pushing forward with my ideas or questions that I have without actually really like waiting for people, or like whoever would be above me to give instruction or whatever, like it sounds a little bit risky sometimes. Like, for example, I remember in my internship, I had to make a lot of phone calls to reach out for clients and stuff like that. But there was times where I was like, okay, it's getting late, maybe I should make this phone call, but I had to wait on my supervisor to go and say, yeah, do call this person, don't do that. Do you find yourself in a situation like that during your internship, where you could have made like a decision, let's say, but you had to wait for it, I don't know, the superintendent or whoever was above you at the time?
No, I wouldn't say so. Since the beginning, they knew it was my first real construction management internship, but even then, they kind of let me, guide myself through the woods, because they believe in the whole throw yourself in a deep end of the pool and like hopefully you swim, and I kind of like that. Like, it forces you to learn really fast. And if I ever had any questions, like, they would help me out. They just want me to be proactive and keep trying even though I fail like every other time. As long as see I get up and keep trying, like that's what they want. They don't want to like someone that gives up after the third try sort of thing. And luckily, like, I had great mentors. My mentor Tony Knudsen, he's been with the company for 3 years now, but he built an entire bridge from scratch in Kentucky, so he had a good experience. Worked in Charleston, built a bridge there, and now he's doing the bridge rehab in Wilmington. So definitely a really knowledgeable guy. My project manager, he's been in the company for 20 years or so. Moved 12 times in his lifetime. Built
Oh my God.
big bridges in Florida. So definitely had a great team, and I'm really happy about that. Really happy.
It's pretty cool, man. Having good mentors is a really, how do I say, it's necessary part of having a good internship, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. And because of them, I learned a lot. I feel like coming back to school, I'll definitely have a step up compared to my peers, just because I have that field experience. I know how much, a backhoe can do, what's the certain radius, how fast a welder can weld, given certain situations, how to schedule, how to estimate to see if we're even on track, if we're running behind budget. Construction management is essentially just like a business role it's just a business role. Like you're running numbers. It's not a lot of engineering other than the whole designing stuff in CAD and knowing certain materials, but it's essentially running your own business. And because of that, not a lot of my engineering peers have that, and I'm really happy. It definitely gives me a step up.
Yeah, I think managing people, I think, is super difficult, and getting so many different subcontractors, so many different groups of people to accomplish the tasks necessary to move on. I think that I did not realize how difficult that was until I did a construction internship. And just the social aspect of construction internships, I think it's priceless. I don't know if you would get that with design. You just have to talk to so many different people and get across so many different worlds that I feel like you just grow so much wisdom and you grow so quick.
Exactly.
And I think it's invaluable.
And we're back.
All right, guys, we're back. So during the first part of this segment, Mason, who had just gotten back from his internship, much wiser, much older, much more knowledgeable, he was giving us, just throwing down the facts. So now we're going to get into some different sectors of that segment. I have a question for Mason.
All right.
So you were stationed in Surf City, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever surf?
No, I did not. But
Oh my God, man.
But one of the inspectors, Patrick Little, if you're out there, what's up, dude? He drove a Toyota Tacoma to work every single day.
Best truck ever.
He got so much shit for it too. Yeah, everyone out there is either a Ford or Chevy fan.
Because it's import?
Yeah, my nickname for a while was Honda. Because I drive a Honda and it's slightly racist because I'm Asian. But yeah, one of the inspectors, he drove Tacoma, and every single day he would have a surfboard in the bed of his truck, because after work, instead of sleeping, he would just go surfing.
Oh,
that is so cool,
Yeah,
man.
and he lives right on the beach. The beach was only 15 minutes away, so
that's a super sick deal, because you guys would get out at 6 a.m.
yeah.
So he would probably paddle out and just have the whole entire beach to himself.
Yep, whole beach to himself. And
What was that, Dawn Patrol?
Yeah, Dawn Patrol.
Dawn Patrol, man.
yeah.
So you never happened to go out with him?
No, he invited me, but I was just too tired.
One more Red Bull. One more Red Bull could have gotten you right.
That's true. That's true. But I did go fishing a few times, but that's about it. It was pretty good fishing.
Fishing off a dock?
Yeah.
Did you catch anything?
No. But I got to see sun for a little bit.
Yeah,
so
vitamin D.
some vitamin D.
Dude, I watched this. I didn't watch. I read this one Reddit post the other day about how engineers are so fragmented. You know how there's mechanical, electrical engineers, chemical engineers, even biomedical engineers, whatever. But
Industrial.
do you think in the future there would be some type of junction of engineering, sort of building some Iron Man type of engineer? Do you think that's something that would be feasible in the future to some extent? If you were to lower the expertise of every engineer and just merge it together?
I feel like that's mechanical. Mechanical is basically the jack of all trades.
That's what they say, right?
Yeah.
You have to take some level of electronics, mechanics.
Statics is pretty much that's taught by the mechanical engineering department, but statics is pretty much civil engineering, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
I have heard of that major mechatronics.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Mechanical, electrical, and computer
computers,
science.
yeah,
Like,
and computer
I think
engineering.
that's where that's going. Like,
I think so too.
that like fuse of everything, and I think like civil's got like its own section. Like when people do civil and environmental, and they kind of fuse that.
Yeah.
And I've heard of like building technology, construction technology, like construction science, like
There's geomatics.
yeah, like there's a bunch of like these things are like different like niches, different subs that can just like merge
Yeah.
to create like this
Yeah.
powerhouse mitochondria major.
Yeah, engineering is just really broad. I believe civil engineering is its own thing just because there's so many facets of it.
Yeah.
Like you said, like there's geotech, water resource, transportation, construction,
Yeah.
coastal, geomatics.
Like-
I think I said that already, but
I feel like most of us go in and we think like we're gonna be designing bridges or skyscrapers, right? Most of us go in thinking like civil engineering is structural, but you
Yeah.
realize that that's like a subset.
Just like
of
a
it.
like a
Exactly.
tiny portion of it. Yeah.
And by the time you graduate, people are like, oh, I don't want to go to grad school. Like
yeah.
everyone's just so changed. Like, oh man, I'm cool with drainage or
I'm cool with just a bachelor's and being a
Yeah.
paper boy.
I'm cool with management or whatever it is.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I
I
don't
was
know if-
thinking, I think industrial might be the Iron Man type of engineering. Toby's industrial. She's taking like almost all engineering classes I know now.
Yeah, with industrial, you get a taste of everything because we have to work with every type of engineer, I guess. And most of the time, we're like the leader, kind of need to understand how everything works in order to make a proper plan to be executed.
Yeah, like it's kind of like jack of all trades, master of none. But like I feel like I'm kind of like that. Like I like to immerse myself in a bunch of very different things. And just get a little bit of a taste of everything, and that's kind of like what your program has been like from what I've seen. Like you guys do like when you do a little bit, you do like a good bit. Like you do a good bit of programming, a good bit of like thermo. Like we took an alternative thermo. I mean, I didn't even take an alternative thermo. I took a sustainability course in place, but
yeah.
I know
I took thermo.
you took like the civil engineering thermo, whereas you took like the more like rigorous.
I took real thermo.
The more rigorous thermodynamics course.
My thermo teacher was surprised when she found out that there were industrial engineers there. She literally
Alright.
said, "What are you doing here? Why are you taking the hit to your GPA?"
Wait, were you required to take the class?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like they actually have to take like they get very well rounded in just a bunch of different things. Even business courses, like you have to take financial accounting and all that, and like
Yeah.
that's just I think that's
It's crazy.
very well,
man. Yeah.
very well done.
Yeah, I guess like that makes sense just because like industrial engineering, like it's more, I guess, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but more like the business management side,
Yeah.
efficiency, consulting. So yeah, you can apply that every field, I guess, whether it's like zoos or, you know, civil engineering, or if you're like a banking firm, or, you know, even if you're like a nonprofit, like everyone needs managers. No one's perfect. No business is perfect. I'm sure like 90% of all businesses aren't even efficient. So definitely a job for you guys for sure.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that too, like the entrepreneurial side of engineering. You do need. I feel like engineers to some level have some management, like course. How do you say his background? Like how Toby said, right? Like she has to take financial accounting, and they do have to know about everything, a little bit of everything, to just like help a business grow. But how do you think about like? Do you know about Soylent by chance?
Soylent, like the drink that's
Yeah.
that replaces your regular food.
Yeah, this guy has like a multi-million company, and this guy was a computer science major. Do you think he had like a background business, something that like held him to say, okay, I can sustain a business over just an idea? Or do you think this guy had like such a strong business background that he could push this that much further, you know? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you
Like
think about engineers like that?
I'm pretty sure, like, you know, he was probably a typical computer science guy. Didn't really eat or see the signs, so he needed like a, a protein shake that kind of fits all his needs, and that's where he came up with Soylent. But I'm sure it's doing well. I actually don't think it's doing well at all. I think they lost all their backers. But
have you tried it before?
no, I really want to try it.
Don't try it.
Don't try it.
Tried it for the first time over break.
Really?
It was not very good.
I think I liked it. Huel was different. Huel is like a competitor they have, but that one tastes like blended almonds and milk. Like
It tasted like blended oatmeal.
Yeah,
like
blended-
dry oatmeal.
There's certain scenarios when humans like enjoy uncomfortable situations or
Pain.
scenarios, pain, yeah, and I think that's one of them where you kind of like you take a sip and you're like, oh, but then you're like, wait a minute,
Kind of like
wait a minute.
it's
Yeah,
kind of like
I
my
know.
first beer. Like I was like,
yeah,
like,
it's
I was like,
exactly the same. I was thinking the same thing, man.
yeah, or like my first like mixed drink.
Yeah, like you just it doesn't feel right, but you just
You just
keep
doing it.
going. You keep going and you keep going. Next thing you know, you're like all your meals are replaced and your pantry's full of Soylent.
But would you guys replace your entire diet right now with Soylent or something similar to it?
The best part of eating is like the texture and
I
and the
agree.
like different flavors. And Soylent is more of just like a breakfast on the go thing.
Yeah.
I feel,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't. It's just not fun. It takes the fun out of eating.
Yeah, I guess you can't really do ASMRs with Soylent. You can only do one episode.
Just the gulping.
Yeah. Slurp, slurp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I don't know. I enjoy cooking a lot. I think I could not replace that. If I had the option of having a normal meal, I would do it. But if I'm like, okay, I have 15 minutes to get to work, like 20 minutes, like I'm not gonna cook. Like there's no way I can. So I'll just take the Soylent, whatever. But
Yeah. I just enjoy eggs and bread way too much. Like eggs and bread is a power food.
Eggs
Like,
and bread.
Eggs
Carbs and
and
protein.
bread. Oh my god.
Another thing, when you eat it or when you drink it, when you consume it, yeah, you feel full, I guess, but it's not the same as feeling satisfied. You know what I mean? Like after you eat something and you're just like, yes, that was great. I feel great now. I
Yeah.
feel like when you drink the Soylent, it's just like, okay, yeah, I'm full. I'm good for the rest. Like I'm good for now.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, so it's not the same.
Oh, so you get that? You don't get that like gratification of like biting into that perfectly cooked candied bacon. It's just all like liquid mush in your mouth.
Yeah.
it really is just mush, honestly.
That ratio of like jaw soreness to fullness,
Yeah.
It's like no jaw soreness, like no mouth activation, just bloated with liquid. I don't know. I feel like you would have to like accustom yourself to it, and after a while I think you could do it, but it really does take a lot of the beauty of eating and the flavor of just gastronomy in general.
But what if they incorporate different flavors like slow cooked ribs or blue cheese hamburgers or
Blue
like
cheese
McRibs, like French fries? Like would that help? No.
Because it's the texture thing
still
that's
the
freaking me
texture.
out. It's like grabbing a hamburger and then putting it in a blender. It's just not right.
That's what I'm thinking. Like when I think about drinks, I don't think about meat. Like it's a little different. I think they do take a little different turn with it. Huel is raw. Like it's literally just like nutty almond, like grainy type of textured juice. But Soylent was a little more silky. Like sometimes they put like flavors in it. It's like cacao and like coffee and vanilla, which is like very subtle. Like it's still very heavy on the almond part, or the nutty flavor. But I don't know if I would eat or drink, I guess, like meat tasting liquids,
I'm okay with Taco Bell value menu.
Yo, there is
It's quick, it's cheap, it's tasty.
those raw chicken taquitos,
I have
whatever.
I've been
had
hearing
those.
about those.
Those are so good. I got the other day. Like
Oh,
I had like, I'm sorry, this is gonna be nasty, but like I had like the nastiest things come out of my body afterwards. But they were so good. They were totally worth it. It comes with this like nacho cheese sauce or this like spicy ranch they can dip into, and like it's only $2. So I might as well. You can like double fist them if you really want to.
Dude, I want to try it. We could
Taco Bell
probably-
run after this?
Hell yeah. We're like, okay,
Tito's.
for the future viewers of this video, we live like a block away from Taco Bell. So.
literally. Yeah, I always say that according to the law of conservation of mass, we are Taco Bell. Because of how much Taco Bell we eat. I love it, though. So good.
You guys should try to get sponsored by Taco Bell.
But yeah.
Taco
True.
Bell, please sponsor us. Red Bull, please sponsor us. Corona Light,
Cliff Bars.
not
sponsor
Corona
us.
Extra. I don't know if I
What?
don't know about Corona Extra.
Corona Extra's all the way.
Corona Light, Cliff Bars, please sponsor us.
Corona Special.
Never had that one, but I'd
One's
be down to
pretty
try it. Send us a trial package.
Toyota
please.
sponsor us.
Toyota,
Toyota
please
sponsor us.
sponsor us.
El Chapo
please.
expansion.
Please send us a Forerunner in the Tacoma.
Yeah, I was looking at those Forerunners, the new ones, the 2019s. They're pretty sick.
Sometimes they look like hippos to me.
Hippos.
Yeah, they kind of do. They're basically like a Tacoma, but like
Yeah.
enclosed.
Yeah, I saw the most beautiful. It was like a 2002 Forerunner.
Ew, what?
Oh,
He
It
was
was-
in love.
it was amazing.
2002? That's like old school. I think that's when they still had the V8s or something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
don't know. I don't know, but it was amazing. It was a beautiful car. I was just thinking about like the modifications that I would make to it.
Yeah, that's pretty
It was
cool.
a beautiful car.
I mean, just sell your car, dude. Just sell your Ford
Escape
Escape.
2003. If anyone wants to buy a Ford Escape 2003, for the donated amount of $10,000.
Didn't you get it for free?
No. It was 1.5, but if anybody wants to donate 10K, I'll put it up on the market. The AC is going out, but if you live where it's not too hot or not too cold,
But other than that, like, the car's in great condition,
yeah,
like
other than
No,
that,
it runs perfectly, man.
yeah, it runs perfectly.
you can fit 2 people in the back very comfortably.
Yeah, very comfortably. You can sleep in it. You only have to put coolant and oil before every major trip. But fantastic car. 10K. It's a steal. I'll autograph it. Now it's 12K if I autograph it. But
Now, if you guys want a better so you can buy my car. It's a 2013 Honda Accord, great condition, mint, super mint, only 58,000 miles. I'll sell it for $9,999. Much better condition and car than his Ford Escape. But yeah, I do want to buy some sweet trucks. So definitely buy my car, please.
what if we all sell all of our cars and we buy one truck?
That means we have to live together.
Share custody of the truck.
I get it. No, I guess that would work if I get like Monday through Sunday.
Monday through Sunday once a year.
Yeah. I mean, like, where are you guys planning to go after college? And if we ever do share that truck,
True.
we gotta stay in the same city,
I'm looking at Orlando right now.
Orlando.
Orlando guy.
How about you?
I feel like I need to make a jump. I feel like if I don't make a jump now, I never will.
Oh, like out of Florida?
Yeah, so I definitely want to come back to Florida at some point, though. I do love Florida, but I feel like I would like to make a jump for at least a couple of years outside of Florida and see what happens because, you always say, I'll just get a temporary job in Florida, but,
You get stuck.
you just get stuck, you get comfortable, you get locked down somehow. And so once I graduate, that's the freest I'll ever be from here on out. So I want to make a jump for a couple of years. I definitely want to come back to Florida 100%.
Yeah.
I love Florida, but that little jump, get a little more experience, a little more wisdom, meet a little more people, do a little more things, eat a little more stuff, and then
Some Coca-Cola. How about you, Toby?
I don't know. We'll see where the job takes me.
How about Little Rock, Arkansas?
No. I'm good.
You sure?
she's got her limitations to where
Yeah.
the job takes her.
If it takes me to a nice big city, I'll go. If it
Nice
takes me to the
big
middle of
city.
nowhere, that's gonna be a no.
That's an interesting topic. I feel like there's a lot of people that just leave their next location up to their job.
Exactly. Like, what's a big city for you? Would that be like Sioux Falls, North Dakota? Or would that be
Like New York City?
Oh, okay. So you're only going for New York City is what you're saying.
No, I'd go.
Because there's no other city that's like on the same
Yeah, New
Yeah.
York City is way
bigger than
it's
everything
like,
else.
Most bigger cities are here. New York City is like up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd pick anywhere where there's young people doing things. I don't know, L.A., Seattle. I don't know. Just
What about Portland? Would you do weird? Like
Portlandia.
Portland weird?
honestly, lately I've been considering it.
You,
Yeah.
you
Portland
Yeah.
looks pretty.
I like
Portland looks really
Oregon
so
is
cool.
growing so much for people our age, and I don't know.
You've been feeling a little weird lately?
Yeah, just to try it, just for a little bit.
Yeah.
You want to try it? You want to go there, try out some things.
Yeah.
Just do
Figure
some
out what
weird
you want.
stuff.
Yeah. Wear some Doc Martens.
Yep.
And then get yourself some Zoe Deschanel bangs.
I tried that, but
Yeah?
yeah.
Oh, Zoe Deschanel's the one from the show you've been watching?
New Girl?
New Girl.
Yes, I love New Girl.
Oh, you watched that too?
I love New Girl, dude. I am okay with like admitting that I watch New Girl. I don't care.